Army with precision has jumped out to a 3-0 start for the second time in the Monken era, but today, Black Knights trying to get to 4-0 for the first time in a quarter century. We welcome you to Michie Stadium for a tough test for the good school out of the MAC, Miami of Ohio. Hey folks, how are you? Jason Horowitz, Ross Tucker, Tina Servasio down on the field. Happy to welcome you here to West Point. Start your college football Saturday on this first Saturday of the fall. Ross, last week 42-0 at the half against a struggling UConn team. Totally different objective today against Miami.
Yeah, that's not happening today against the Miami Redhawks. They are perennial contenders in the MAC. They won it a couple years ago, and even this year, they went toe-to-toe with Minnesota. They probably could have won that game 31-26.
All right, we get used to seeing Army grind out 10-minute drives. The big play, though, last week against UConn in the first half has been kind of a story all season long.
It really has been all season. Tyrell Robinson is their big play guy. As always, getting incredible blocks from guys like Barzak and Finucane. But the big plays come when Brandon Walters gets those blocks downfield. Robinson is a big play threat every time he touches it. The thing that's made Army so special so far this year, though, it's the passing game. The safeties for the other teams, they can't be right. They're looking at the run. Isaiah Alston goes behind him, and Christian Anderson is off to a great start.
Redhawks like to run the football too, but they do have a really good receiver in Jack Sorensen.
It feels like he's been there forever. He's been there. This is his 6th year. You saw what he did right there in the MAC championship game a couple years ago. He was the offensive player of the game there. Even against Minnesota earlier this year, he made some big plays.
Well, 3 years ago.
Number 4, Jabari Moore. Wow, totally unnecessary. Comes flying in and grasps that face mask. That is a critical error there. Really, in my mind, a mental mistake.
Well, we know that they rotate quarterbacks after the penalty. They rotate quarterbacks in drives. They have already done it here on the second play. Gabbard's in and threw it right into the hands of Andre Carter. The nation's leader in sacks almost had a pick six.
They were trying to just throw a little bubble to that side. You really do that to try to slow down pass rushers like Carter. But Carter got up the field, hit him in the elbow. It's a really nice play by Carter, top of the screen. I mean, if he had been a little bit more aware, he might have been able to snare that one and take it back to the house. He played high school wide receiver in Texas.
Mosey on the hip of Brent Gabbard. Rolls out to his left. He's chased by Armin. He's going to get shoved out of bounds. Cedric Cunningham right around the line of scrimmage. Gabbard is mobile. He did have a 40-yard run last week. Today making his 18th appearance for Miami. 2 years ago, the MAC Freshman of the Year.
Well, it's just so impressive. He started the first game of the season as a true freshman at Iowa, ultimately led them to a MAC championship. You just don't see that very often from a true freshman.
Highlighted him in the open. Jack Sorensen is his go-to receiver. Looks down the middle. Nobody home. Miscommunication with Jalen Walker out of the slot. And so Army's defense, which on opening drives all year has been so good, with the exception of a penalty, gets off the field.
Well, and it was terrific protection by Miami. Gabbard had as much time as he wanted. He just airmailed that thing. I think if he put that on Walker, it would have been a first down for the Redhawks, but he just sailed it. You know, you always see that sometimes with quarterbacks early in games. They're a little too excited, a little too pumped up, and they overshoot their intended receiver sometimes.
Freshman Dom Jobin on to punt it away. A little inconsistent this year, only averaging 34.5 a punt. Good arc and a fair catch called for. And Army will come out at the 22-yard line to start its opening drive, led by Christian Anderson. Now, we do expect to see Tyre Tyler today, who is back from injury, but Anderson, since coming in and starting week 2 against Western Kentucky, has run with this thing.
He really has. I mean, he's got a touchdown pass of at least 39 yards in all 3 games. He's 8 of 10 with 19 yards per completion. He has been so efficient. As you see Tyler, we expect to see him maybe the 3rd or 4th series. They even talked about potentially bringing him in just in one play situations. There are things that both these guys do better than the other, so they might specialize him a little bit at times.
Now remember, that was the plan to start the year. Play Anderson, play Tyler. Tyler started the opener against Georgia State, but got hurt after the 2nd series. Anderson up the gut right away. Jacoby Buchanan picks up 1. For Army, the shifting today on the offensive line. whole bunch of different players in different spots. Cameron Holloway gets to start at right tackle.
Yeah, you almost never see this, but Connor Finucane, number 60, the right guard, he's been right tackle so far this year. But they specifically moved him to guard because they anticipated Miami having an even front. That's a 4-down front, meaning there's defensive tackles lined up on both guards. It's so important to Army to get a push at the point of attack. They moved Finucane in. It might only be just for this game.
Gabe Buchanan won on the opening play from scrimmage for Army. Anderson it himself and digs right into the Red Hawks defense, which has a good set of defensive linemen, particularly on the edge. They really like their defensive ends. A little inexperienced when you get to their linebacker spot, but you're excited to watch the safety, Sterling Weatherford.
Well, if you go back and watch 2018, Ben Barati was at safety, and he was flying both ways to try to make the tackles on the pitch man. That'll be Weatherford today. He's in what they call the high hole. He'll be about 7-8 yards directly over the center, and on a lot of these option plays, he'll have the quarterback or pitch both directions. You see him right there.
On a 3rd and 5, last week Anderson was a perfect 2 for 2. He's not passing, he's taken off, and he's got space. Christian Anderson, nothing but green, and a 72-yard touchdown. You highlighted the big plays in the open, and they get one on the 3rd play of the game.
This is a different Black Knight bunch this year. They are big play potential, and they do it often. I thought, Jason, after those first 2 plays, I was just going to say, Miami's got a good plan. Miami's ready for this. I'm glad I didn't say that because nobody had the quarterback on play number 3 in Army on the board early again.
Cole Talley on for the extra point. It is up and through. Have not played 3 minutes, but Army's offense, Ross, looking like the first half last week, led by the senior.
Terrific block by Cade Barnard on the linebacker, and that is all Anderson needed. He's been throwing it so well, but today he said, you know what? I'll just use my legs.
Sweet Christian Anderson had his 3rd career game with 2 rushing touchdowns. Started with 1 early in the season against Georgia State. And then today, he just had his longest career run of 72 yards, Ross, against Miami.
Right, and you never know for sure who has the quarterback. It could be Weatherford, it could be Bolden. Barnard is going to make the cut block, and Weatherford is going to overshoot it. So I'm not sure if it was Weatherford with a bad angle or the linebacker just got blocked by Barnard, but option football, option defense is assignment football. Whoever had the quarterback obviously was nowhere to be found.
And Ross, this just continues the stretch that Army has had in the opening quarter so far this season against Georgia State, Western Kentucky, and then UConn last week. They have outscored the opposition 35-0 in the opening quarter. Line drive kick. Let it go, and they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. It's an action-packed bull riding clash, the toughest sport on dirt. Heads to South Dakota. It's the Monster Energy Invitational. Catch BBR Unleash the Beast tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network. Well, now it's the opportunity here to respond, Ross, for Miami. An opening drive that, yes, they had a 15-yard personal foul on Army on the opening play, but they didn't gain 2 yards of actual offense on that opening drive.
Yeah, the best thing that happened to him was the penalty. But like I said, I was encouraged, if you're a Miami fan, that they were able to give Gabbert plenty of time on that 3rd down.
He does get the opening snap of this drive, and Mosey has nowhere to go. It's an offense for Miami that has a whole bunch of running backs that'll rotate through. It's an offensive line that's young but coming along.
They are, and Rusty Feth, the center, is probably the best of the bunch. He's a leader up front. He actually started as a true freshman in the MAC championship game a couple years ago. And he'll have his hands full, by the way, with Nolan Cockrell, the Army nose tackle. I think it's about as good as anybody in the country at that position.
Cockrell, a huge 4th down stop last week early in the game against UConn. This is 2nd and 10. It's Afari, one of the other young running backs for Miami. He's wrapped up by Marquell Broughton out at the 30-yard line. He has had interceptions in back-to-back weeks for this Army defense. Cockrell, maybe the heartbeat of this defense, but Eric Smith might be the best player.
He has been outstanding. This is his third year starting now. I feel like sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle. He's probably their second best pass rusher when they blitz him. He's gonna have to make plays against both the run and pass. Wouldn't be surprised if Nate Woody sends him on this play right here. Look at 53.
Show blitz, they anticipate run, and they get a stop. Mosey tried to squeak through. Spencer Jones got him around the legs, and it's 4th down for Miami.
Terrific tackle by Spencer Jones. He's the new sophomore starting linebacker right there. You're gonna watch him read this and come over the top. Just right behind, slides behind, did not really honor Gabbard. That's one where that's an incredible play by Jones to be able to both make the play and force Gabbard to hand the ball off.
Jobin's first punt went 37 yards. Tyrell Robinson, always dangerous. Good hang time. Robinson lets it bounce, and Miami will down it at the 33-yard line. So a 36-yard punt for Miami, with Army's offense set to come back on the field, trying to get to 4-0 for the first time in 25 years.
Media timeout.
Expecting a tough test today against the Redhawks.
By Cooper Tire, go with the Coopers. And by ServPro, proud supporters of our nation's first responders.
A lot to celebrate here at Michie Stadium over the early part of this season, including a 72-yard touchdown run from Christian Anderson to give him a 7-0 lead as we approach 5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. And Anderson back out to start the second drive. Fakes the pitch. Gets away from the tackler, and Anderson out in space again. Christian Anderson down to the Miami 46 for more on number 4. Down to Tina.
And Jason, when you looked at last week against UConn, 6 different Black Knights found the end zone. And I talked to Christian Anderson about this yesterday. He said, we just have so many different weapons, and no pun intended there. This offense gives a chance to spread the ball around, and that happens so that the defense can't key on one person. Anderson says our offense is even more multi-dimensional now that he's able to get the ball in the air more. It just keeps defenses off balance.
Well, and Tina, he had a career high 119 yards rushing in the win against Western Kentucky 2 weeks ago. He already has 93 yards on the ground here in the opening 5 minutes and change. Handoff inside to Robinson, spins around, and picks up 2 yards on the creative play brought down by Luke Bolden.
It's a little inside trap there that Army got the 70-yard run on for Robinson last week. Miami was ready for it. You know, Robinson averages 8.2 yards per carry the last 2 years. That leads all of FBS football for guys that have had at least 65 attempts. I mean, 8.2 yards a carry in college football is just incredible.
Well, and on this particular season, 13 yards a carry. Now, it's helped by his 70-yarder he had last week. That's Lingenfelter, the tight end. They sent out wide. They hand off inside to Atkins. Tried the middle of the defense. Austin Ertl right there in the middle of it for Miami to bring up a 3rd down and about 5, which is what they scored the 72-yard touchdown on the opening drive.
So far, the Redhawks have done a nice job on the fullback. You know, all those interior D linemen, guys like Ertl and Hilton, they are totally focused on the fullback and taking him away. They have struggled so far when Anderson has taken it himself on the option. Wouldn't be surprised if Army comes back to that.
Well, they're matching personnel too. Chuck Martin told us they would do that this week. No matter where the tight end goes, they'd send their guy out there. The pitch out to A.J. Howard, and a beautiful job by Mike Brown.
He is such a good player. He was able to watch him fend off the cut block, okay? Right side of your screen, Murphy's gonna try to cut him. Watch number 3, this is textbook. Fends off, nope, I'm staying on my feet and I'm making the tackle. That is tremendous by Mike Brown, making his 30th straight start, and that's gonna force Army to punt the football. Interesting play call there by Army to go with the pitch, and Brown just saved them a possession there with that play.
And you just said a word we have not said since the 3rd quarter of the first game. Army punting the football. Zach Harding trying to down it inside, but it went over the goal line. And so Miami has it after the touchback. Punt of 44 for Harding. Army up 7-0. On CBS, former Steeler Alejandro Villanueva, of course from Army. Now with the Ravens, Ben Roethlisberger back after the struggles the last couple of years. Miami of Ohio.
Both of those guys on CBS tomorrow. Both need to get wins after they're both 1-1 trying to hold serve there with the Browns in the AFC North.
Now, Chuck Martin would love to have a Ben Roethlisberger who wouldn't. Right now, he's going back to Mayer, who's going downfield, and it's intercepted. His arm might have been hit. It's picked off. Cam Jones getting the start today for Julian McDuffie. And Army takes it over with another takeaway.
I'm telling you, Jason, Cam Jones doesn't play that much, but when he does, he gets picks. Mayer had time. There was a little duress at the end from Carter. I don't know if he hit him. I don't think he hit him. And he actually had the receiver open. It just was thrown well behind Hippenhammer, the Penn State transfer. I don't know what happened there with Mayer on that throw, but that could have been a touchdown with a better throw. That's a throw A.J. Mayer usually makes.
So Mayer got the start opening play. They went out for a tailback sweep. He has been out since. Gabbard got the next 2 series. Mayer comes back in for that play, and they got to find their rhythm at that position. Here it's Anderson on the pitch to the ever-dangerous Robinson. And he cuts it inside up to the 48-yard line. Chopped down by Sterling Weatherford. So what do you do, Russ? Gabbard struggled. He's missed some open throws. Hippenhammer was open for him as well.
Yeah, watch 21 Weatherford, though, here at the end of this play. Taking on Brandon Walters, still making the play. That's really well done. You know, he took on Walters outside in, making Robinson cut it back into his help, and then still made the tackle. That's why we highlighted Weatherford at the start. And to your point about the quarterbacks, you know, you and I don't even know who's in, so I don't know how they're getting into a rhythm, right? I mean, if they're coming into each play, it's hard to get into a rhythm.
Buchanan skips over a defender. Jacoby Buchanan takes it down to the 41. He picks up 11 yards for the guy that usually pounds away for 3.5.
Best run for the fullback of the day so far. Watch Buchanan. He's got such light feet. He's 6'2". Look at the jump cut outside, then he hops a guy. I mean, 6'2", 260, that's getting up in the air right there for Buchanan. Played lacrosse in high school, which is one of the reasons why I think he has such good lateral agility.
Inside of 6 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Robinson out in motion. Anderson looking downfield. Tries his luck. Incomplete. Great coverage. Cecil Singleton didn't bite on the fake and was all over Brandon Walters.
This is when Army loves to throw the ball, by the way. After they get a first down at midfield, but Singleton was not having any of it. He was ready.
Armed Forces football is proudly supported by Cooper Tire. Russ, that's the first time really in a couple of weeks that Christian Anderson has seen a defender on one of his wide receivers.
You know, it's a good point because we rave about the Army passing game and how well Anderson's done, but usually the guys aren't covered at all. Give Singleton a ton of credit there for his discipline.
Army now 11 of 14 passing on the season. Anderson on the pitch. Now Miami's getting to a rhythm. It's Singleton again. He had the pass coverage. Now coming up to help with the run, and it's a loss of yards for the Black Knights.
Man, that is discipline option football. 15-2. 15's got the quarterback. 2's got the pitch. We're not going with the fake. They fake one way. Nope, sorry. Salopek's on it. Singleton's on it. That is a well-coached defense right there. And that's impressive to make back-to-back plays like that. I mean, you make a play 50 yards downfield on a deep post, then you make a tackle for loss, 3 yards. Singleton came to play.
Well, now you get Army in a spot where you feel like you have the advantage with your defensive ends. They bring a blitz up the middle. Anderson being chased on the run, and that's where you want to have him. Murphy, the intended receiver, Mike Brown in coverage, and it'll bring up 4th down in the punting tee.
Army really struggles in long yardage situation, and I don't like what I just saw from Anderson. He is limping pretty noticeably as he tried to roll to the right there. They're going to obviously take a look at him. They talked about maybe playing Tyre Tyler on their third or fourth series. They might not have a choice.
Which is what happened in week 1 against Georgia State. First punt for Harding with 44 yards. This one's going to die inside the 5, but they can't down it inside the 5-yard line this time either. So it'll come back to the 20 on another punt of 44 yards.
Media timeout.
Nets inside Mikey Stadium, and all wondering like what we are. What's going on with the starting quarterback, Christian Anderson, with more downstairs to Tina Cervasio.
Well, I am right behind Christian Anderson. Now, the medical trainers did come over to Anderson. Okay, right now he is stretching out his right ankle. He's rolling it around right now. Now, the trainers walked away. He put the headset on. He's talking to Tyrell Robinson, some of his receivers, and Tyre Tyler. I'm literally just making my way around the bench. Tyre Tyler's right next to him. Don't know what's going on if Anderson will be back in, but he is stretching out that right ankle and rolling it around as he's flexing it as he's sitting here on the bench. Guys, I'll keep you updated.
All right, Tina, thank you very much. And again, just a reminder, week 1, the plan was to start both Tyler and Anderson. Tyler got to start 2 series. Anderson was coming in series number 3, but it was because Tyler got hurt that Anderson never gave way back to Tyler. Tyler is healthy today for the first time since week 1.
Well, they had 5 different quarterbacks play last year, so and they're all back, so they're very well prepared if Anderson can't go.
Miami yet to complete a pass. That's the first one today, and it goes for a first down. Gabbert settled into the pocket and found the Penn State transfer, Mac Hippenhammer, and it goes for 13 yards.
Good protection again. Army ran a stunt. Gabbert does not have the biggest arm, but he's got excellent pocket presence. He's very bright. Hippenhammer just running a little curl route right there, and Gabbert put it right on him. Hippenhammer also played baseball at Penn State, was a 2-sport athlete for the Nittany Lions.
He had a wonderful touchdown in the loss a couple weeks ago to Minnesota. Gabbert in Miami trying to get into a rhythm. Not able to get anything going on the ground. Chased down by Spencer Jones. Again, time with Kevin Davis. Now, Spencer Jones didn't play the opener, played much against Georgia State, battled injuries all throughout camp, but he has come back in a big way here, Ross, the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and the guy that made the play there was Cockrell. We talked about this yesterday. He got up the field, which made it so the back had no chance but to cut it back to Jones.
And they switch quarterbacks again. Now it's Mayer, more of the athletic quarterback, and then Cockrell doesn't bite anything except his ankles and pulls him down after 1.
Really enjoyed talking with Nolan Cockrell yesterday. Watch him at nose tackle. He is so fun to watch here. They try to block down on him. Nope, he's going to get in there and get back and make the play. He's so strong, Jason, but he also has surprising quickness. He actually had scholarship offers to Elon and other schools for tight end, but he wanted to play defense. Army's the only one that let him play.
He's got a lot of confidence. Credits Nate Woody. They switched quarterbacks again. This is 3 straight plays, 3 different quarterbacks. Gabbert is on the field here for the 3rd down and 7. Army brings 4 out of the backfield, has his receiver, mosey down the sideline, and that is a first down.
And you know what he did? He just moseyed on down. Oh no, it's Davis. Davis, the guy they're 28 and 26. Kind of hard to see who's who, but Davis has a wide receiver background. So that's a favorable matchup for Miami to get him one-on-one on Eric Smith. Excellent play design there by the Redhawks to get Davis in space. Davis had a couple touchdowns last week.
He did on the ground his first 2 career. They got a lot of young running backs that all do a lot of things that they like. Gabbert trying to settle in the pocket, and he's brought down from behind. Guess who? Andre Carter, the nation's leader in sacks.
5.5. Watch him off the edge. He's so long and uses his hand. So watch the hand usage. Ooh, I'm coming inside. Just that little step inside and the left hand. I'm telling you, this is a next level player. They got a couple of D linemen, Cockrell and Carter, who I would be shocked if they did not get an opportunity. Carter just moves and glides so effortlessly.
Carter looking to come off the edge again. Throws it near side. Hippenhammer, his second catch of the day. Jabari Moore throws him out of downs. Malcolm Morris in there as well. Bring up 3rd down and long for Miami at the Army 45-yard line.
But that's what you have to do against Army right there. When their corners play off, you have to take those quick out routes. You have to throw it out there. I mean, they were able to get a nice 8 yards there, put him into 3rd and very manageable.
Miami has settled back into this game, Ross.
They really have. We'll see whether or not Army brings pressure, if they think Carter can get there from the bottom. Gabbert changing the play here, usually changing the protection.
To the far side, it's caught. Walker falls forward for the 1st down. Now it looked like Moore went flying right by him. Now there is a flag right where he fell down and made the catch, so it is in the secondary.
That was a very late flag again. I wonder if someone hit him after he fell down.
The ruling on the field is of a catch for a 1st down. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 10 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, 1st and 10.
That is Cam Jones, who had an interception earlier this quarter.
Let's watch. He puts the ball down. Oh, jeez. I don't know about that one, man. I mean, watch him. Walker puts his left hand down to try to stay up. I mean, he's trying to stay up right there. I don't know about that. Look, I know they're trying to call some of these tight, but that's a no call in my mind.
Now, certainly this week, targeting has been a loud conversation. And what needs to happen with college football. That wasn't targeting, but some certainly not going to be happy with that either. But it'll set up Miami.
That's the end of the quarter.
With great position to start the 2nd quarter. End of the 1st quarter. Army leading the Red Hawks 7-0 on a Christian Anderson touchdown run. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network.
Spencer Jones cleans up after one of the other Black Knights is able to get penetration like Morrison did right there, evading the block of Paulson.
Already 4 tackles for Spencer Jones. That's Kevin Davis. He's got good hands out of the backfield, but a timeout taken. Chuck Martin takes the timeout to stop it with 13:58 to go here in the 2nd quarter, facing a 2nd and goal at the 12, and we'll keep it right here. So Gabbert and Mayer have been the 2 for Chuck Martin. Meanwhile, we got to find out about Christian Anderson, who left that last series hobbling. Downstairs to Tina.
So Jason, Christian Anderson did eventually go into the medical tent where he received some attention there. His shoe was off. It appeared that he got his right ankle retaped. He's currently talking to running backs coach Mike Vitti right now. So it looks like he is in preparation. I'll tell you what though, Tyler, Jamel Jones, they both look concerned and they would not leave Anderson's side. They were talking to him until he went into that medical tent. Still no official word, but it's looking in the direction Anderson will be available.
You know what's interesting about this, Jason? As you see Anderson tying his shoe, you know, even if Army was going to go with Tyler on the next series, a lot of times if you have like an ankle, you ever sprain your ankle or whatever playing basketball?
Every 3 weeks.
I don't know what Anderson's injury is, but you're almost better off when you keep playing. You know, when you keep it warm and keep moving around on it.
Out of the timeout, Gabbert fakes the pitch, gets around the edge and steps out of bounds. He was faster than Cockrell, but Cunningham was chasing him down. Maybe 3, it'll be 3rd and goal.
Yeah, but watch Cockrell read this and get down the line. He forces Gabbert to go so wide that he wasn't going to get very many yards anyway. For 285 pounds, Cockrell can really move. Look how put together. Look at his arms. Gosh, I wish my arms looked like that ever in my whole life.
Your 7 years in the NFL, they weren't that nice?
No. I mean, I would put the elbow things on, everything I could to try to make them look bigger or better, but they were never like that. Huge play here. Let's see if Gabbert's mobility is a factor.
Down 7-0 early part of the 2nd quarter. Army brings the blitz. Gabbert hits as he throws to the end zone. Incomplete. Hippenhammer brought it in, but his foot was out of bounds, and it'll be 4th down.
Boy, he only needs to get one in.
Ruling on the field.
Let's take a look at it.
Pass.
Which one comes down first? Ah, the left one comes down out of bounds. You see the official is right there. Cam Jones, good job pushing him. because that left foot comes down first on the white line. Excellent job by the side judge there, and terrific job by Cam Jones pushing him out of bounds while he was up in the air.
So the true freshman Graham Nicholson was perfect on the ear for a 29-yard field goal, and he stays that way. So Miami's first legitimate drive of the day results in 3. We'll see which Army quarterback comes up next.
Army leading Miami of Ohio 7-3. I am joined on the sidelines by Captain Terry Baggett, class of 2015, former Army running back who still holds the prestigious record of a single game rushing yards, 304 yards rushing back in 2013. Captain Baggett, how is it to be back here at Michie Stadium representing your division, the 7th Infantry Division?
It's a great honor. I mean, it's always fun to be back to see the team play. And what better way to do that than being here representing the 7th Infantry Division. It's awesome. And
you have your jersey on from when you played here back in 2013. You set that record. What do you remember about rushing for 304 yards that day?
You know, I just remember there were a lot of holes, a lot of seams, and it was a lot of fun being in the end zone with my teammates.
You are based right now just outside of Tacoma, Washington. You're a captain, obviously, with the 7th Infantry Division. Tell me a little bit more about your role as you continue to serve in the U.S. Army.
So first, I was a company commander in 7th ID, and that was just a great honor, being able to really inspire and lead 150 of America's greatest soldiers. And now I serve as the aide to the division commander, really just making sure that I can enable him to lead the division and accomplish its mission.
Oh, that is so amazing. It's interesting, Captain Baggett, this is the 10th year anniversary of the Showtime documentary, A Game of Honor, and you were in that. It was produced by CBS Sports, and it showed a moment when you first showed up at West Point. You were hazed a little bit. The pressure was on. What do you remember about that?
I actually rewatched the video yesterday, and I cringed. But what it reminds me is that, you know, being put under pressure was important, and I didn't know what to do.
Hold on 1 second. We're going to send it back to Jason.
Well, Tina, that's Christian Anderson. I guess the ankle's fine. He looks like Terry Baggett. 75 yards. He just bested his career long from earlier today.
Every time we interview one of the guys in the Army, they score a touchdown. This is unbelievable. Tina is 3 for 3. We got one of our servicemen on the air. The Army Black Knights are scoring. It's just quarterback, zone. Anderson cuts it all the way back. That's the second time Miami has had nobody for the quarterback. Terrific block by the right guard, Dean Powell. And Army is off and running. Anderson's having a day. He might break Terry Baggett's record.
You know, perfect. You know what we're going to do the rest of the day? We're going to keep a camera directly on Captain Baggett.
Oh, my goodness.
I see your 304 yards. Here's my 172 and a quarter and a half.
All right, watch the block by Dean Powell. Right there. Right there. Terrific job on the linebacker, and Buchanan, the fullback, got a good block as well. And I can tell you right now, Army's going to come back to that play because Miami has not had an answer for Anderson a couple of times. They're doing a good job of getting that play side linebacker blocked. And Anderson, that's right near where Tina is interviewing Captain Baggett.
Yeah, and who's got a huge smile on his face. Let's go back downstairs to Tina.
So, Captain Baggett, I have to ask you, what did you think of Anderson's legs there?
Oh, I mean, they look great. That was a beautiful run. I hope he does break the record. I mean, hey, what better way to do it and win?
And can you imagine a quarterback? That would be, and it would be so amazing with Terry Baggett here on the sideline. So you were saying, we could just finish your story about that moment in Game of Honor when we saw the pressure put on you when you showed up at West Point.
Yes, and what I would say is being put under pressure, I learned a lot from being in those situations and circumstances, and they definitely prepared me for what I would see in the Army. And so it was a valuable experience, though it wasn't fun to be a part of.
Well, Captain Baggett, thank you for your time today. Thank you for your service, and we appreciate seeing you here on the sidelines at Michie again.
Thank you for your support, and it's awesome to be here.
Jason Ross, back to you.
Tina's the opposite of the announcer jinx.
Yes.
She's the opposite of it. Nobody's missing anything.
Make sure we have a lot of guys interviewed for the Wake Forest game.
Kick through the end zone from Tally, and so Miami of Ohio will bring it out to the 25-yard line. So, Ross, it is Mayer who's coming out to start this drive like he did to start the game. Gabbard, really the most part of that last drive for Miami that went 6.5 minutes, resulted in the field goal.
All right, so I never played quarterback, okay? I played guard, though, and my sophomore year of college, we rotated series. was not a big fan. It was
rotated
really
quarterbacks
tough.
or rotated linemen?
Rotated linemen. Each series, my sophomore year, I rotated with a guy, and you just never totally felt like you really got into a rhythm. I don't know, maybe quarterback's different, but I don't think it's ideal for either guy, to be honest.
Mayer finds Sorensen. That is his first catch of the day. It's a pickup of 11, and frankly, that's the best pass that either of them have thrown today.
Well, Mayer's got a big arm, man. We called the game last year during the week here on CBS Sports Network, some action. I love some midweek action. Look at him, he's coming out. I mean, 1st and 10, he makes a great throw, and now he's coming out. I guess these guys are getting used to it, and over the course of the season, I think maybe it'll help them. We asked Gabbert yesterday, what are the pros and cons? He said there are no cons, and it's only pros. It gives us the best chance to win.
Well, and Chuck Martin followed that up too when we talked to him, saying, hey, they both have different things they do well. We want to use both, just like we would any other position. Gabbert hands it off to Afari, and that went nowhere. Eric Smith blew it up in the backfield.
Well, Eric Smith saw Gabbert make the check, and when he saw the check, he knew it was a run, and he came downhill. Watch Smith. He hears it, I'm coming downhill. So what happened is the center and the right guard are responsible for Eric Smith, but he cuts way behind it and is able to make the play. He is put together as well. He's another guy that I'm very jealous of his physique.
Davis comes in motion and gets it off the handoff from Gabbert. Spencer Jones makes his 5th tackle of the afternoon. Tell you what, Army's defense last year, #1 in the country in total defense, right? And it's a little bit different because they gave up all those yards to Western Kentucky. But you take out that 4th quarter against the Hilltoppers, this defense has looked like last year's defense.
They have looked fantastic. They have a lot of movement up front. Nate Woody likes those guys moving. They haven't really brought a ton of pressure at Gabbert. We'll see if they do here. They're kind of showing it.
Tried to hit the screen to the tight end. It's over the head of Jack Coldiron. And so 4th down will bring on the punt team for the 3rd time here in the half.
Like the play call there by Miami to try to get the ball to Coldiron underneath. He had a couple blockers in front of him. If Gabbert puts that on him, Coldiron has a chance to get the 1st down.
Well, this is looking very similar for Miami to week 2 against Minnesota. Redhawks found themselves down 21-3 at the half, came all the way back, lost that game 31-26. They outgained the Gophers, but they did have a couple of turnovers. Robinson lets it bounce at the 30, takes a Redhawks bounce, and they will down it inside the 20-yard line. His best punt of the day goes for 46 yards. Christian Anderson having a day. He's up there, catch all the action with Nico Cantor as he details match-to-match coverage of the Champions League. Live on the Galazzo Show, Tuesday and Wednesday at 3 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Well, you always talk about and hear about all the distance that soccer players run throughout the course of a match. But it's not as often that they're running 75 yards in a full sprint like Christian Anderson has done twice today.
I mean, 2 runs over 70 yards, and he wasn't touched on either one. Frankly, he wasn't even close to being touched on either one. The Miami defense has kind of been feast or famine. They've either stuffed Army at the line of scrimmage, or when he breaks free, there's just nobody there. They don't have a middle-of-the-field safety.
Well, coming into the year, he only had 100 yards rushing once. He has now done it twice. The gift of Buchanan. He was ripped down right at the line, maybe 2.5. That is Cameron Butler, second-team MAC a couple of years ago. You know, we talked to Brent Davis every single week we do Army games, but we talked to him again yesterday. And again, he, as we talked about at the beginning of today, the plan was to play both Tyler and Christian Anderson, though we have yet to see Tyler here in this ballgame.
Yeah, and you see next to Brent Davis there to his left, Cody Worley is the quarterback coach. He's really done an awesome job. I mean, last year they had 5 different quarterbacks start. This year already he's played a couple. He's done a nice job getting these guys ready, and you can see the clear improvement from Anderson.
Miami training staff attending to one of their players down at the 20-yard line, which was the far side of where the play went.
You know, because of the physicality of Army and because they do block low often, this is one of the major concerns you have when you play against the Black Knights, because so often they're going to go low. I think he's right there in the middle.
And that is Kobe Hilton.
And you see he kind of gets bent back.
Well, and that's tough news today too, Ross, for Miami, because they are already playing without starting defensive tackle Anthony Collier, who was out for a couple of weeks with the injury suffered against LIU last week in their 42-7 win.
I actually saw Hilton play a couple times in high school in the state championship game in Pennsylvania. He's from Farrell, which is really on the Ohio border. The further west you can go in Pennsylvania. But you're right, they're already down a D tackle. They're going to have to play some real young guys now, which is not what you want when you're playing against the Army option attack. You wonder if Army can have more success with the fullback now.
And they're also missing their starting linebacker, Ryan McWood, who led them in tackles.
Great point.
He's out for the season. He led them in tackles 2 years ago with 100. Anderson fakes the pitch, trying to keep it himself. And again, there's that D-line that was all over it. Cameron Butler didn't go for anything and chased down Anderson for no gain.
Cam Butler's made a couple plays already. You'll see 82. He's going to chase this down. When he sees those linemen go away to pull, he's following them. Ooh, I love Butler's quickness. And then he still gets it on the play.
And Anderson is down again. So the training staff out to see what the senior dealing with, clearly banged up.
You know, sometimes you can run fast like he did on the 75-yard touchdown, and the injury doesn't bother you at all, but it's just the cutting part of it puts a little bit more force on your foot or ankle or whatever it is that's bothering Anderson. See how much force he has to put to turn back away from Butler, because Butler read that all the way. Butler has unique quickness following those pulling linemen. It's a nice job. And then watch the tail end of this play. You know, hard to see if there's any kind of new injury there or if he just re-aggravated whatever happened on the prior series.
Well, they are checking on his upper body. They are not checking out his lower body. It was the limp that happened a couple drives ago. Now, he does have a couple of Miami players land on top of him.
And he fell right on the football, too.
Christian Anderson walking off under his own power is a good sight here for Army, but that does mean that they will have to go to a different quarterback.
Right, in 3rd and 6, Tyler is not known for his ability throwing the football. Tyler is known as the more physical runner. You know, he's got more of a burst. They say he has improved throwing the football. Remember last year he was playing slot back before they moved him the corner. 79 passing yards total. I don't think they're going to have him throw it here. I might be wrong, but they're up by 11 points. I don't know if you bring him right in the game and throw the football.
They run the option and they run it right into the defense. Mike Brown on the edge, with the exception of the long touchdown run, has been steady today for Miami. And so that'll bring up 4th down.
That's a smart play, I think, by Brent Davis. The last thing you want in that situation is to have Tyler come in cold and either get sacked or throw an interception. Your defense is playing well. You got a 2-score lead. He's not happy about it, but that was the smart play. Sometimes people don't like conservative, but sometimes conservative is the right move.
Zach Harding didn't punt the last couple of games. This is his 3rd punt.
Wow.
Of the opening half, and it's a boomer. And Jalen Walker sent all the way back inside his 25-yard line. Punt of 54 for Harding.
Into the game and in the rhythm.
Gabbert back off the sideline, pressure in his face, and he throws it high. Nolan Cockrell was coming right up the middle. Gabbert was nowhere near his intended receiver, and they'll have to punt.
You know how valuable it is to have a nose tackle like Cockrell, who's still a good pass rusher? They have him out 3 days. Watch the hands there. A little stunt there with Eric Smith, and he gets pressure on Gabbert. Gabbert can't really step into the throw. Watch, that's 285 pounds coming bearing down on you in Nolan Cockrell. He is the type of kid that plays for Army, he could start anywhere in the country. I see him as a 3-4 defensive end at the next level.
Army gets in there and gets a block. Second time this season, they've come on to block a punt.
Regan
Donaldson off the edge.
Sean Saturnio, the special teams coordinator for Army. Watch the left side. They always do such a good job of having these guys split. Donaldson comes flying. I mean, Donaldson's one of the best athletes on the team. You can't let a wide receiver come scot-free. That is a missed assignment or bad protection scheme by Miami. That is way, way too easy.
Kendrellin Hammonds picked it up for Army, who will now set up here in the red zone to start this drive, up 11 with 8:12 to go.
And you know, block punts don't just happen. That's a lot of work by the coaching staff to see that and to say, you know what, we are going to be able to have something here. Army's got Anderson back in the game, but they got an issue.
Yeah, there's
Army,
about to be a delay
they're
game.
first.
As Anderson got to the
It'll also
line.
be 30 seconds.
So twice in this ball game, Christian Anderson has had to leave because of an injury. Once on the lower body, whether an ankle or a leg. We're checking out his upper body after the last drive.
You know, he got banged up a decent amount the last couple of years. I mean, he's been a guy that's been in and out of the lineup.
Tina, you have an update?
Hey, Jason, I was watching Christian Anderson when he came back off the field after he was down. He didn't get medical attention. He just sat really still, but right away put the helmet on, put the headsets on. He sat closely. Tyre Tyler was with the running backs, and Jamel Jones kind of sat and talked to Christian, and when that block punt happened, he jumped up, threw his helmet on, and ran down here.
Looks like the ankle's okay. Already 173 yards rushing and a couple of touchdowns. The give to Buchanan, his 6th carry of the opening half. He takes it for 4 yards as we dip inside of 8 minutes to go with Army up 14-3. And again, all of this because of the blocked punt on Jobin.
Yeah, and you know what? Just to finish my point, the coaches spend so much time breaking down the opponent in every way, including their punt protection. And Saturnio saw something there where if Walters takes the one blocker, Donaldson might be able to come free. That was a flaw in the protection.
2 receivers in Donaldson and Isaiah Alston. Handoff, Robinson steps his way and down to the 5. It'll set up 3rd and about 1 for Army.
And this is where Army loves to live. That was just a power scheme. You run that back in high school, Army going right back on the football. 3rd and short like this, it's usually Buchanan time.
It is Buchanan time. Pushes the pile. And it's going to be close. They needed the 4-yard line, and they give him the first down.
Still 100% in the minds of the coaching staff. Brent Davis told us on 3rd or 4th and 2 or less, Jacoby Buchanan is 100% on conversions. He also said, stop talking about that, Ross. They don't want us to jinx it. Sorry, Brent, I'm just doing my job.
Well, he has not had a single negative carry in his career. Cade Barnard now onto the ball game, and again, they do have the 2 receivers.
Barnard's such a good player as a lead back. And remember, Miami's had trouble with the quarterback.
Anderson, it's a pitch, kept it himself right into the middle. Butler grabbed him around the shoulder, 2nd and goal.
Army was thinking the same thing I was, which is that Miami hasn't had an answer for the quarterback a couple times, but Miami was up for it as well. Nice job at the point. I don't know about Anderson trying to cut that back all the way into Ertl like he did. Looked like he had a little bit more room to play side.
Player on the offense.
That is Booby Law, the starting left tackle.
Well, I don't really understand that. It was way after the play. And then he kind of wanted to run off. See Jeff Munkin? Jeff Munkin said, lay down, son. Because there was something that caused him to be down after the play, and they want him to get him checked out. Watch 77, middle of your screen. Yep, see? Back of his leg gets rolled up on. Seems like that's how it always happens. That's why all these guys, all the offensive linemen wear knee braces, you see? Because those knee braces often are the difference between getting a sprained MCL and not.
Russ, what's that first reaction when that happens? You played 7 years as an offensive lineman in the NFL.
It's an awful, unnatural feeling. I mean, think about it. The people watching right now, if you've never played football, how often have you just been standing there and somebody rolls up into the back of your legs or the side of your legs? It's unnerving, and you're always nervous because you know that's how injuries happen. And that got me twice. I tore my right MCL twice. Once as a junior against Yale, once as a rookie in training camp. And both times it was because somebody hit me pretty forcefully from the side of my right knee.
Tina telling us that Ruby Law was slow to get up a couple of plays before that as well. So he will come off here on this second and goal. And remember, Army shifted the offensive line today to start, moving Connor Finucane into guard, giving Cameron Holloway the start at right tackle. And already without Connor Bishop, who was missing his second straight game at center.
Right, Jacoby Buchanan back in. Army has wider splits, which usually means they want to give it to the fullback.
They do. And there is no room. Ben Kimpler and Ertl right there in the middle of the defense.
So for Army, this is highly likely 4-down territory, depending on what happens here on 3rd down. I am impressed with the grit, toughness, and physicality of the Miami defense. They've had missed assignments a couple times on long Anderson runs, but they've done a good job holding the point of attack against Army on these fullback dives. And you look at that score, there's a huge difference between a touchdown or a field goal here for the Black Knights.
Oh, there's no question. That is Dellinger, who is in at left tackle, shifted over to the right side. Anderson kept it himself and right up in there. Ben Kimpler had a career-high 11 tackles against Army 3 years ago, and that's a crucial stop on 3rd down.
Watch this job by Kimpler. This is outstanding. He just slices in there and is able to beat the down block of Dellinger. Army went right there with a gap scheme. Everybody has the inside gap, and Dellinger not able to get to Kimpler, and they're going to force a field goal here. What a stand by the Redhawks.
So Cole Talley, 2 for 2 on the season, will try from 21 yards out to give Army a 14-point lead. Osei got it down, he put it right through, but a big momentum stop for Miami. Army gets the blocked punt, started in the red zone, but a big stop for Chuck Martin.
Media timeout.
By Ram Trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. And by Today's Military.
Miami won the 2019 MAC Championship, their first in 9 years for Chuck Martin, who took over a team his first year in 2014, Ross, following an 0-12 season that he came into. And he has made Miami into what it has been in its history in the MAC, and that is one of the perennial contenders.
Yeah, they've got the most wins, conference championships, bowl wins of any MAC school. But it wasn't like that when he first got there. Kudos, by the way, to the Miami administration. He was 4-26 in his first 30 conference games. They stuck with him, and they've been rewarded.
Walker lets it go over his head, and so they'll come out once again to the 25-yard line. Proud supporter of Armed Forces football, the Exchange. So Gabbard back onto the field here for Miami of Ohio, like he was in 2019 as the starting quarterback of that MAC championship team. Was the freshman of the year in the conference.
Both linebackers are up for Army. A lot of times they'll end up bailing when they show they're coming. They bail out of it.
Pressure off the edge. Gabbard gets away, and he's ripped down by his shoulder pads. And a late flag. Nolan Cockrell grabbed him around the neck.
Yeah, they're going to call that a horse collar. And the rule is if you get, they're talking about it right now. Let's hear this discussion. Is this a horse collar or not? Left hand.
He has to get his
No,
hand.
that's not a horse
Not
collar.
at all.
He's got the armpit of the jersey. I mean, it's a violent pull out. Gosh, he is strong.
Personal foul, horse collar, defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, 1st and 10.
So my understanding of the rule is that if you grab them in the nameplate or behind the helmet, obviously,
Correct.
the collar, it's a horse collar. He grabbed his jersey. I mean, he grabbed the armpit on the jersey. That is a really poor, look how strong he is, by the way, to pull Gabbert down and right on his face.
That's a miss.
That is a very unfortunate call, and that's, I would say that's the second personal foul that the officials have been wrong on.
That is the 3rd penalty on Army. They've only been averaging 2 a game. Gabbert, pocket collapses. Cockrell got him with the arm. This time he hits him in the front of his body. That one will count.
He's fired up now. You don't want to get him angry. He's like the Hulk. Watch this, slides out. Does he split a double team here? He comes around. Great job off the edge from Jacobs, and Cockrell able to finish him off. Jacobs, the youngster, has some real ability off the edge as well. And now for Miami, they need to just try to get about half of this back, give him a chance on 3rd down. He looks like the Hulk.
He does.
You won't like him when he's angry.
Average 5 of 11 and 2nd and 17 in the hole. The handoff, that is a big hole, but it closes quickly. Maybe 4 yards out to the 39-yard line. So 3rd and long, 3rd and 13 facing
Charge timeout.
Brett
Army.
Gabbert, and Army
Their
takes
second.
a timeout here.
It will be 30 seconds.
Jeff Munkin wants on all the latest scores and news in college football. It's all coming up on the halftime report, powered by Ram Trucks. Now here in West Point.
I like that hat, the tank.
Yeah.
You know, like you got the cheese heads in Lambeau, you got the tank hats here. 3rd and a long way. The question is whether or not Woody brings pressure to try to get the ball out of Gabbert's hands quickly.
Well, the pressure has gotten to him all afternoon. He moves Safari. They bring 6. Gabbert hit as he throws. It's low and incomplete. He was looking for Walker. Morrison gave him a late shove. And the way things have been called today, that's dangerous too, but it's 4th down.
It is. I love some of these late blitzes. Watch Smith, watch the stunt here. Just enough so that Gabbert can't get a good throw. Delay, delay. Here I come. I love that. He lets the D tackle in front of him pinch in to clear it, and then he comes. You don't always need to get a sack or even a hit on the quarterback to affect the play. Love some of these delayed blitzes from Army.
Remember, Army blocked the last punt. Trying to come up the middle again. Almost got there, and they say he did. Morrison not called for roughing the kicker because he got a piece of it.
And Chuck Martin is going to lose his mind. I don't blame him because Miami did not fix the protection issue they had. Morrison came free again. He didn't do a great job blocking. Watch, Morrison comes free again. They haven't fixed it. He just missed the ball. I mean, he barely got any of it, and that is very dangerous for the punter.
There's no foul for roughing the kicker because the ball was tipped. However, personal foul, face mask, number 83 on the receiving team. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed from the end of the kick, 1st and 10.
That is on Rican Donaldson, who had the block the last time.
I don't know how that even happens on a tipped ball like that. Look at that. Oh, you know, he really didn't get any of the ball. I think he just got the leg as he was trying to punt it. That is a dangerous play, and Miami better fix the punt protection during halftime, or they're going to get a couple more punts blocked, and they're going to get their punter hurt. Watch 83 right there, left hand right there. Oh, man, that's another one I would like for them not to call unless he grabbed it again.
Russ, to your point,
Oh,
though,
he grabbed it again.
He grabs it
okay,
again.
that's a good call.
But to your point, not that they can go back, but to your point, if he doesn't touch the ball, that is roughing the kicker.
Right.
Deflection of the ball looking like it's deflected just because you got the leg is a penalty. Robinson thrown backwards. Ivan Pace making the stop. Now remember, Army used a timeout to save some time on the other side to try and give the offense some extra time.
Pace is a really unique player. He's got a team-high 22 tackles coming in today. Used to play off the edge. He has an NCAA record, 6 sacks. Watch him read this and get outside. He runs very well for a guy that used to be off the edge. He reads it, gets off the block of Barnard. I am impressed with the way these Miami defenders defeat blocks.
Those 6 sacks were in one game 2 years ago against Akron. Anderson does pitch it out to Robinson in space, trying to get the edge. Stays in bounds, and he's up beyond the first down, hit late. No flag thrown out at the 31-yard line. Singleton came up to make the stop, but he does get the first down.
Boy, I was about to be critical of Robinson for not going out of bounds. I was going to say, get out of bounds, stop the clock. But evidently he knows what he's doing. Cuts it back, gets first down yardage, more yardage, and then he gets out of bounds. Watch him put the brakes on. Dominic Robinson goes past. He makes Pace miss. Robinson is a unique player.
Now remember, because it was outside of 2 minutes, they did start the clock again once they did move the sticks. Anderson with 173 yards rushing. Cuts it upfield to the 36-yard line. When does Jeff Monken think about that last time out?
Well, he's thinking about it right now, but I think they want to make sure they don't give the ball back to Miami. I think he wants to make sure he gets at least one more first down before he uses it.
And Army is set to get the ball to start the second half as well, so a big opportunity here. Barnard tries the middle out to the 39.
That's an interesting play call there, because now the clock's going to really go. Army has only thrown the ball one time today. No, I take that back, twice. But you wonder if they're going to try to hit one here.
And both were incomplete, which is rare this year for Army. Anderson back to Barnard. Keeps his feet. He's got a first down. Singleton cleaned up the tackle, but with 53 seconds to go, Army does have the first down and the one timeout at the 45.
Yep. You'd like to save the timeout for right before the field goal attempt if you can.
Anderson tripped coming out of there. And you wonder if you got to take it now.
That was the play they've had success with. Let's see who got him. The center. Noah Knapp was pulling, and his right foot stepped on Anderson's right foot. I've been there. That's a bad feeling.
Are you surprised they're not taking the timeout?
I think because they lost yardage there, they do not handle lost yardage situations very well. But you still think I would have called a timeout and try to throw the ball a little bit to get in field goal range. This is pretty conservative here by Monken.
Well, he has the one timeout, but they're going to let it run. So content to go into the locker room with a 2-touchdown lead, knowing they're getting the ball back to start the second half. Christian Anderson has run free on the Miami defense. He's had most of the offense, and they lead 17-3. End of the first half, Army in front. Adam Zucker in the game coming up next. College football on CBS Sports Network. Brought to you by The Exchange. 232 yards on the ground. And for the second straight week, Army has held the opposition to under 90 yards total in the opening half. Jason Horowitz, Ross Tucker, happy to have you back with us. Tina Servasio down on the sideline. Ross, 2 huge runs for Christian Anderson. They're both north of 70 yards for touchdowns. Other than that, though, this has been an even game.
Yeah, it's funny looking at the 232 rushing yards. It's kind of deceiving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2 big plays. Other than that, Miami's defense has actually done pretty well.
Yeah, they've held Army to 3.5 yards. The rest of the plays, but you don't take those plays away. We talked about big plays for Army's offense coming into this game. That's certainly a big story here in the first half.
It's been big plays really in all 3 phases. It started on offense, 3rd play of the game. Christian Anderson goes 72 yards for a touchdown. Nobody had the quarterback. And the only thing better than one 70-yard touchdown is 2 70-yard touchdowns. And then the defense got involved. Cam Jones getting the start today, was able to get an interception. Andre Carter got a sack. He normally does, leads the country. And then this blocked punt by Regan Donaldson led to the field goal. But even there, Miami was able to hold him to a field goal. You rarely see that when the Black Knights get the ball in the red zone like that.
We talked about the game 3 years ago here at Michie Stadium. Miami trailed by a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter in that game, sent it to overtime. Miami trailed Minnesota 2 weeks ago, 21-3 at the half. Came back to have a shot in the fourth quarter. So this is a team that's having the experience of this type of atmosphere.
Even last week it was 7-7 against LIU until they turn it on. They're a second half team.
Through the end zone, out to the 25, downstairs to Tina.
All right, Jason, I spoke to both coaches. Chuck Martin says he's sticking with the 2-quarterback system. They just have to block better. And then by doing that, it'll give the quarterback more time to throw. And then hopefully they want to get that run game going. He says it's as simple as that. Jeff Monken says that Christian Anderson is okay. He told me the limbs are good. He just had the wind knocked out of him that second time we saw him slow to get up. But Jeff Monken said, and I quote him, "I am beside myself that we did not get into the end zone. We only had a field goal after that block punt. That cannot happen. We have to play better in the second half."
Well, he's exactly right, because as we talked about, they get a touchdown there, as Army normally does. They're up 3 scores. The game just feels a lot different.
It did feel like a huge momentum boost for Miami on the first pitch. It's a 9-yard pickup. Pace makes the tackle on Walters. That is the 7th tackle of this ball game for Pace.
And you know what? Let's take a look at Barnard here. This is the first time they're really able to get the ball on the perimeter. And it's Brandon Walters. You know, you see the adjustments that both sides make. Everything Army does is trying to figure out who has the quarterback, who has the pitch man. Miami made an adjustment to make sure they have somebody for Anderson. Now Army able to get him with the pitch guy.
First down run, tough run for Anthony Atkins over the left side. And Ross, good news for Army's offensive line. Booby Law, who left at the end of the second quarter with an injury, is back on here anchoring the left tackle spot.
Yeah, that's a really good sign, because he is their most athletic offensive lineman, and 2 really nice runs to start this drive for Army. Curious to see whether or not they can keep it going there with Brent Davis's adjustments. I don't think people realize, and we talk with Davis every week for these Army home games, just how complicated and sophisticated Army's option offense really is.
Well, and how often do you see in any other offense the left tackle shift to the right side a couple times a half? Out to the right side, Howard. That was blown up by Weatherford. There is a flag coming from the back. It was thrown behind the play.
You know, Weatherford didn't make the play there, but that's what we talked about at the start of the game. He's 7 yards deep in that high hole. He's got the pitch man. He did the right thing by firing through his outside armpit.
Greg Sujak, referee. All right, well, his mic is not turned on, but that is a chop block. The personal foul, 15 yards, going to go against Army. You know, Chuck Martin talked about that with us this week, about saying that he'd be totally fine if cut blocks below the waist were completely eliminated from college football, to which Jeff Monken responded this week, he'd be perfectly fine if tackles below the waist were completely outlawed in college football as well.
Well, you have to block them within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and it has to be between 10 and 2 if you're thinking about a clock, so it has to be from the front. Army doesn't often get called for that because they're so well versed in the cut block and low block rules.
So off their 4th 15-yard penalty, that is now 1st and 25. Barnard gets 1.
And that basically kills an Army drive. I mean, it's not good for any offense in college football, but especially Army. They lose 15 yards like that, it totally throws them off schedule, and they need to be careful here because these are obvious passing downs now. They don't pass protect very well. Miami has a bunch of guys like Phelps and Butler with a lot of sacks in their career. That's the last thing Army wants now, is any type of strip sack.
And a fumble on the exchange.
Knapp snapped it early. Right after the play, nobody else moved other than the center Knapp, and Knapp went right to his helmet. Watch, only the right guard and the center moved. Nobody else did. Anderson had to fall on it, but I saw Knapp right after that tap his helmet. He might have gotten caught off guard by Finucane next to him moving it. Now this, I highly doubt they throw it here. probably a fullback dive or some type of conservative run to just be able to punt the ball at this point.
Wow. No, they are going to throw. Anderson's throwing deep. Alston, the receiver. A lot of contact, no flag. Cedric Boswell out in coverage on an underthrown ball, and it'll be 4th down.
I thought it was just good coverage at first glance. Man-to-man coverage. Let's watch Boswell. There's a little contact there. I think that's a good no call.
He is looking back at the ball, too.
Well, and he turns around. He's trying to make a play. I feel like Alston could have done a better job drawing the penalty. Alston needs to come back for that ball with more vigor, violently, and draw the penalty. That's something I think they're talking to him about right now. If you come flying back for that ball and he runs in you, then they'll call it.
Harding's setting up for his 4th punt of the afternoon after, well, he got days off the last 2 weeks. Did not punt against Western Kentucky or against UConn. Had another penalty here that looked like it was against Army for a false start.
Offside. Number 47 on the receiving team entered the neutral zone, causing reaction on the offensive line. 5-yard penalty remains. 4th down.
All right, so if you are Chuck Martin, the first penalty of the day against your team on a 4th and 27 that's only 5 yards, breathe a little sigh of relief because your defense had a huge stop here on the opening drive.
Look at that stat. Terrific stat there. I mean, they hadn't punted forever.
That's going to die inside the 30-yard line. Touchdown by Raheem Murphy. Does the defensive stop help Miami's offense? We'll find out next.
Media timeout.
Well, go back a quarter century in the Army-Navy game, which turned out to be one of the best days for Army in the rivalry's history. Ronnie Makeda, after trailing 21-3 on the touchdown. Bobby Williams got in the action. Demetrius Perry, too. Army would go on to win the game on 3 rushing touchdowns, 28-24, and the largest comeback in the revered rivalry. And we are now only 77 days to the countdown to America's game. The Army-Navy game presented by USAA on CBS Sports, Saturday, December 11th at MetLife Stadium. Well, Army 3-0 this year. They were outstanding in that year. That is a phenomenal find. Gabbert all the way into Army territory to Sorensen inside the 40.
Terrific throw by Gabbert. Steps up. Watch this. I mean, he put some zip on it to get it to Sorensen right on the sideline between the corner and the safety in that zone coverage. Well done by Gabbert.
32 yards. They had 77 total yards in a half. Gabbert again throws it high. Hip and hammer, the intended receiver, Jabari Moore, there in coverage.
It's funny talking with Monken yesterday. He didn't really care that much about the 4-0 start. He said, doesn't matter, means nothing, but it means a lot to a lot of people around here. That's 25 years. 9-0 they started. Ben Kotwika, who's back on the staff now, Steve Shalou. They had a really good team in '96. They were 9-0 until they lost to Syracuse, Donovan McNabb.
Ippenhammer dropped it. And Ross, that was their only loss during the 11-game regular season. A 9-0 start, they went up to the Carrier Dome. Army fell to Syracuse. They ended up losing in a bowl game, the Independence Bowl, to Auburn. But a phenomenal year, that '96 team. And to his point, he said he didn't know that they had a chance to be 4-0 for the first time since 1996. But it's not just that. It's a chance to be 4-0 for just the 4th time in the last 70 years.
That is incredible. And this is a huge play. This is a huge step to get to that 4-0.
He got the backup tight end, Derek Paulson, next to him. There to help in coverage. Out to Walker, wrapped up around the neck by Morrison. He's short of the first down by a couple of yards.
4-down territory, they gotta go. I think Chuck Martin realizes that. This sets up a 4th and short. Morrison went high, that's a legal tackle. Looks pretty vicious, but it's legal. Gabbert wants to go. They're gonna go 4th and 2. They've had no luck running the football. Empty set. Makes you wonder if maybe they use Gabbert's legs in some way, shape, or form.
That's Davis. Comes back towards the formation. Pocket opens up, he throws it short, but that is a first down. Walker coming across the line, just in front of the 29, and on a fourth down conversion, Miami keeps it alive.
This is what Gabbert does well. Watch him manipulate the pocket a little bit before he gets hit. He just throws the shallow cross to Walker, keep the chains going. Gabbert has very good pocket presence, something that their head coach Chuck Martin mentioned this week. That was a critical first down for the Red Hawks to keep this drive going.
Jalen Walker had 2 catches in their first 3 games. He has 4 here this afternoon. Gabbert looking deep towards the sideline. It's almost intercepted. Marquel Broughton pitched the last 2 weeks, came down with it, but his foot was out of bounds.
Broughton
Timeout for an injured player on the defense.
had a beat on this football, just wasn't quite able to get that foot down because he had so much momentum taking him horizontally, but Gabbert tried to go back to that well between the corner and the safety, and Broughton wasn't having it.
That is Nathan Smith down for Army. They've been trying to find who their second best pass rusher is going to be opposite Andre Carter. Smith had a sack and a half last week. He's been getting a lot more playing time, but he is down at the 35-yard line. A 6'3", 260-pound junior from Texas. Back to his feet and will walk off. And Ross, it's a defensive line. Does not have Ryan Duran today. Was injured last week against UConn, a different injury than the one that hampered him the first couple of weeks, and they're expecting him to be back before the season is over. A little short-handed there on the defensive line.
They are, both sides are now.
So a 2nd and 10 coming up for Miami. For Brett Gabbert. Jack Sorensen is his leading receiver on the year in the last couple of years. And
bottom of the screen, but Army has a safety to helping to that side.
And their best cover corner in Jabari Moore. Gabbert gets out of the pocket, takes off, hole opens up. He's chased down by Broughton, but he picks up a first down. 11-yard pickup for the quarterback, and they're in the red zone.
I think Gabbert's going to have to do that more for Miami to win. Just gets past Cockrell. Gabbert's got a nice feel for that, of when to tuck it away. He had a big run last week in the win over LIU. This is a second-half team. We've talked about it, but I think Chuck Martin knows that they need a touchdown here. You almost get the sense that this is 4-down territory almost no matter what happens.
They settled for a field goal the first trip into the red zone in the opening half. Gabbert trying to load up to the far side. Hippenhammer makes the catch, trying to get away from Jones. He can't, but it's inside the 10, down at the 7. And 1st and goal for the Red Hawks as we head towards 9 minutes in the third.
Strong hand catch. Top of your screen, it's just a comeback route. It's outstanding coverage by Jones. He just wasn't able to make a play. That they didn't have a disaster.
Anderson's going to keep it himself. Got away from 3 tacklers. Somehow comes back out the back door. And Christian Anderson galloping near midfield. Somehow he turned a 4-yard loss into a 42-yard pickup.
You have got to be kidding me. Watch this. I mean, the play is dead to rights. He gets spun around by Phelps, comes all the way back. There's nobody there. And if Weatherford doesn't make that tackle, Anderson adds a 90-yard touchdown to 2 70-yard touchdowns.
That was Barry Sanders-esque.
That was a gigantic play. He's coming for you, Terry Baggett. Is Terry still here? He's coming for you.
We interviewed Captain Baggett earlier, the record 304 yards. This the more conventional 5-yard carry for Jacoby Buchanan. Armed Forces Football is proudly sponsored by USAA.
This game is proudly sponsored by long Christian Anderson runs. I mean, that's been the whole game so far, has been Anderson with these long runs. And getting 6 yards there, 5.5 on first down, gives them a great opportunity here to start to churn clock. Watching the bottom right, that play clock, they're going to start to not snap it until there's less than 5 seconds. I know it's still third quarter. They know how to shorten the game, trust me.
Play number 9 on the drive. Barnard right into the arms of Ertl. But he does fall forward for 3 yards, and that, you know, the momentum of this game, Ross, Miami down on third goal at the 1, doesn't get in on 2 straight plays. They have Army on a 4th and 1 on Army's 10. They pick it up. They have Army on a 3rd down and 18 inside their 10 that Anderson picks up for 42. Just massive mistakes by Miami here to let Army really seize control again.
So close, yet so far away.
Seems like 2-down territory again. Back to Buchanan. He's right at the marker. Right on the 44, and it is enough for a first down.
He got it again, man. 3rd and 2, he's still 100% for his career. It's got to be over 30 of them now, where it's 3rd and 4th and 1 or 2. That is a human bowling ball. 6 foot, they list him at 260, usually comes to training camp at 280, and I would have no interest in tackling him whatsoever. Look at the big splits, usually means fullback. Salopek hit him with everything he had, but Buchanan almost always goes forward.
Howard in motion. Anderson, quarterback keeper all the way. Down inside the 40-yard line. Pace came down to chase him down again as we take a look at the AP Top 10 poll, powered by Ram Trucks.
That's the big one right there, buddy. Texas A&M, Arkansas, from Jerry's World, 3:30 on CBS. Obviously, Jerry Jones is an Arkansas alum. Cannot wait to watch that one right after this one.
Well, and that Cincinnati team did beat this Miami of Ohio team 49-14 to start the season for the Victory Bell. 125th time they played that. And it's Cincinnati who's got Notre Dame next week. Atkins got away from the initial hit. Hops a defender and takes it into the red zone. Anthony Atkins, maybe the most athletic of the fullbacks on this Army roster, and that's how the third quarter will come to an end.
I mean, 245 pounds, bounced outside, now watch this, and keeps his feet at 245 pounds, 6'3". He's not just a fullback, he's an athlete.
And that athlete will take us to the fourth quarter with Army leading 17-3 here at home. And you're watching college football on CBS Sports Network. Any passing yards, that's been the difference. But again, the defense, Ross, what led to this, what has been more than 7 minutes on this current drive, a goal line stand.
It was the goal line stand, and then obviously it was the long run by Anderson when he was backed up. Really, those are the 2 biggest plays of the game to this point, because it looked like Miami had a chance to make this a 1-score game, and now the Black Knights have a golden opportunity to turn it into a 3-score game.
Well, you go for a moment where you feel like you're getting to be in the game, and all of a sudden their offense has been on the field for another 7 minutes and 13 seconds. That was the 13th play of the drive, and here's the play, Ross, that we're talking about. It's the 3rd and 18.
Phelps grabs him, and I'm not sure he doesn't spin around unless Phelps spins him around. And all the flow was that way, so there was nobody back over there again. Couple guys broke tackles. You know, he has a couple of 70-yard touchdown runs. That was by far right there his best run of the day, because those other ones he wasn't touched on. That one, to get spun around reverse field, he's having an awesome senior season.
Well, and again, to put this into perspective for Miami's offense, they've been sitting on the sidelines for more than 8 minutes of game time. Atkins flies over the top. That's one of the more fun 3-yard runs you'll ever see.
Well, this is a big 3rd down for Army, but I think it's worth noting, okay, they're up by 14. I know Jeff Monken does not want to settle for a field goal. I know he doesn't want to take that chance, but 3 points is almost as good as 7 in the sense that it would make it a 3-score game. So I tend to think this will be another play in the middle of the field so that they have a relatively easy field goal attempt, even if they don't convert.
And Miami was short a man on the defensive side of the ball.
Barnard's usually in there to block, number 40.
He does just that in the pitch. Robinson got it on his fingertips, has the first down, has scored it out of bounds. Inside the 10 at the 6. Mike Brown there to make the stop at 1st and goal.
Smart play. Watch, Robinson thought about cutting it back right there, and I think he thought, I just got to make sure I get the first down. I think he thought about trying to cut it back to get a bigger play, but smart play, headsy play by the sophomore to just make sure he gets that first down and keeps that clock at the bottom moving. This is best of both worlds for Army. Keep that clock churning, shorten the game, and get that score to go up by 3. 3 scores, of course.
Atkins, nothing there on the 16th play of this drive. Armed Forces football is proudly supported by ServPro. 12.5 to go here in the 4th quarter. Army led 17-3 at the half. Miami had a 1st and goal situation. It had 2 plays from the half-yard line, could not get in. That would have made this a 1-touchdown game, and instead Army is trying to cap off what would be a 99-yard drive. Buchanan stays on his feet, down inside the 4.
Tell you what, if Army gets 2 or 3 yards here, or even just 1 or 2, going to be a very interesting 4th down decision for Jeff Monken.
What would you do?
I would kick the field goal, depending on what they get here. You got to go up 3 scores, man. However you do that. But he goes by the analytics book, and if it's 4th and 2 or less, I think he'll probably go for it. Because worst case scenario, you don't get it, you make Miami have to go 98, 99 yards.
A reminder, they went for it on 4th and 1 on their own 10-yard line on this drive. The pitch, chased down from behind, get in the corner, and the end zone. It's Anthony Atkins finding Pater for the 3rd time this season, and Army goes up by 3 scores. The capper to a 99-yard drive.
11 minutes, 18 plays. That is Army West Point football. And number 23 gets him the number 23 points on the board. Really good blocking on the perimeter there. It's the only way you score in situations like that.
Extra point clanks off the uprights and is no good. Now that is... Weatherford wanted to try and take that back, but I'd just be happy that he caught it. What set up the drive? This was a 4th down stop for Army. What finished the drive? A 4-yard touchdown run for Atkins.
You know what I love, Jason, about the military?
What's
they
that?
are selfless. And you know what I love about Army football? They're skill guys, selfless. Watch Isaiah Alston and Brahim Murphy. You want to get a toss? Your receivers and slot backs got to block on the edge. Terrific job by both Alston and Murphy to get Atkins to the corner there. Selfless. You don't see that with a lot of skill guys other places.
Well, you also don't see a lot of 18-play drives most places in college football. You certainly don't see a lot of 99-yard drives. And you don't see a lot of drives that take up 67% of a quarter.
That's going to make Jeff Monken a lot happier than I think he was before that drive.
Kickoff for tallies shorter than the ones before. And Walker's coming out from the 5. And he's tripped up before he gets to the 20-yard line. Boyne down there to make the tackle. It's time for a day in the life of a cadet, brought to you by Today's Military.
That's the one right there I would like to take. history of military art.
You do know that's one of the more difficult classes, right?
Is it really?
I was told that on my tour 2 weeks ago.
Interesting. Well, 7:40 a.m. is a little early for me when I was in college, but military art, I would love to see that over the years.
I would like.
That's a tough class. That's interesting.
For sure. I would like to know why Mark.
Isn't art just like interpretation?
Well, to a lot of people. Morrison coming through. Gabbert throws it. He's leaking out. He's got his man streaking down the sideline. And Davis is going to take it to the house. 80 yards, one play. They haven't been able to break free all day.
That is unreal right there. I mean, Davis is in the backfield. He runs a wheel route. He's uncovered by Jones. And then to make a move like that on Jabari Moore with the sideline right there, that is extremely impressive and not good, by the way, for the Black Knights that Moore just couldn't get him out of bounds there with the sideline right there.
Kevin Davis on 2 separate occasions today has shown his speed. And man, was he good there again. They got something in the redshirt freshman from Jackson, Tennessee.
Exchange.
Back inside Mikey Stadium, Jason Horowitz, Ross Tucker, Tina Servasio. Army goes on a 99-yard play drive that takes nearly 11 minutes. Brett Gabbert responds with one play and an 80-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Davis that takes 13 seconds.
Look at that graphic at the bottom. I've never seen that before.
Well, but now get ready here because you know what Army can do offensively.
Well, it's going to be.
You got to expect an onside kick.
It should be an onside kick. I'd be surprised if it's not.
Nicholson approaches and he does kick it deep.
I'm stunned.
So Robinson, the fair catch. What do you think of the thought there by Chuck Martin?
I don't like it at all. I would have kicked an onside kick there if I was Miami of Ohio. You just had the other team run the ball 99 yards on you. Now, I know Anderson had that big run, but they still went 99 yards and appeared to be wearing down your defense. I would have kicked an onside kick there. I'm surprised.
Well, remember, 2 weeks ago, Western Kentucky started the fourth quarter down 3 touchdowns, kicked 3 onside kicks in the fourth quarter because they knew what Army could do with the clock. Now, they didn't recover any of them, but they did it 3 times.
Well, now you better get a 3 and out.
Atkins the B-back just after his touchdown, and he's met right in the hole. So he gets maybe a yard.
Good start.
Yep, Ben Kimpler, first one in there along with Austin Ertl. And there is an injured Red Hawk down around midfield. That is Dominique Robinson. That's about 20 yards away from the play.
So far away from the play.
Dominique Robinson, defensive end. And so we'll see what happens. Dominique Robinson was helped off to the Miami sideline as we're welcoming him back to West Point. Let's take a look here and see what happened to the defensive end, the senior here for the Red Hawks.
Yeah, look, he's actually covering Lingenfelter man-to-man. I've never seen anybody else do this, but Miami actually just tasks their D-ends with covering the Army tight ends man-to-man. You never see D-ends in man-to-man coverage, but that is something Miami's willing to do to try to have an extra body to stop the run.
Yeah, they're matching personnel. They've been doing that all game, and Chuck Martin said they did that in 2018. Tina is telling us that Dominique Robinson went straight back to the locker room, not the medical tent. So we'll see if we can get an update on the senior who began his career at Miami as a quarterback. 5 days into camp, became a wide receiver, and then a couple of years ago, they're like, you're more natural as a defensive end.
And Tina and I saw him on the field before the game. He is exactly what you want your defensive ends to look like.
Army's taking as much time off the play clock as they can. They're on the 2nd and 9. Anderson simply going to keep it himself. Brown got out there to cut him back in and made a nice tackle. Otherwise, Anderson would have picked up the first down.
You know, this was well blocked, but you'll see Brown number 3, who's actually running away right there with the motion. He stops. Now he's the high hole player. Terrific block by Barnard on pace. Anderson thought he could cut it back. I think Anderson might have gotten more yards if he just kept going. Brown able to trip him up, but if Anderson takes that to the sideline, I think he probably gets the first down, sets up a critical 3rd and 3. A lot of times, Jason, they'll just go back-to-back handoffs to Jacoby Buchanan.
Miami's all kinds of confused on the defensive side of the ball. They do give the first one, no. Anderson kept it himself, almost snuck away again. It looked like Buchanan got it. He pulled it out of his belly, and Anderson kept it for a first down.
What a fake quarterback follow. Puts it in the belly, and then he follows him, and then he almost scored. If they didn't get a trip right there, he would have scored. Tremendous play call by Davis, and I love Anderson just kind of going behind Buchanan, staying in that pile so that everybody, including me, thought Buchanan had it.
Yeah, Weatherford had no idea he had the ball. Kimpler was the last line of defense and made the tackle. He's the one who was down. And he is helped back to his feet and will go back over to the Miami sideline. Well, this is the risk you run, too, if you are Miami, right? Not going for the onside kick. You score in one play, 80 yards in 13 seconds after Army went on a near 11-minute drive. You do not kick the onside kick, and you put your defense right back on the field for what it has been in this position pretty much the entire second half.
It really has, and they are starting to wear down a little bit, and back-to-back really good plays there for the Black Knights. Barnard got the nice block on the linebacker on the quarterback option, and then I love that quarterback follow. That might be one of the only times they've run that this year. Nobody was expecting it, and I love Anderson. I thought at first, Jason, he was just pushing Buchanan from behind. I thought he was pushing him forward.
Well, he was. It added to the fake.
Got me.
If you're up to it, by the way, if you're keeping track, he's up to 236 yards rushing. Trying to complete his first pass of the day. Launches downfield. Open receiver. Stretches out and can't make the catch. He led Brahim Murphy down the field. Murphy might have landed on the football.
Tremendous effort by Murphy. Look at him laying out. Oh! Landed hard on that right shoulder. And honestly, I don't know how much of this is him hurt and how much of it he's mad he didn't make that catch. Probably a little bit of both. Tremendous effort by Murphy.
Christian Anderson got drilled too by Pace. And he stayed down on the sideline as well.
And he reached for his right shoulder. It looked to me like he reached for his right shoulder. Yeah, look at that. Boy, he has had a tough day. Career high rushing yardage, 3 incredible runs, but this is the 3rd time he's gotten banged up. I think it's a legal hit. You know, Anderson was in the air. Pace didn't use the helmet. Only one step, pushed him.
Hands to the chest, not
I've got
to the
no,
face.
yeah, I've got no problem with that contact by Pace. But you have 2 different Army Black Knights landing real hard on their right shoulders.
So for the 3rd time this afternoon, Christian Anderson will be on the sideline. This actually a little bit more of a surprise, Ross, than what we thought coming into the game, because talking to the coaching staff, they said they were going to give Tyler not just a play, but they were going to put him in for series today.
Well, he might be now.
Facing a 2nd down, keeps it himself. Tyler goes for 2, and it'll be 3rd and long as the clock will dip under 8 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter with Army up 13.
You know, it was an interesting decision for Army to call a pass on 1st down. You know, usually you get to this point in the game, you're up 13, less than 10 minutes left. They want to keep that clock moving and try to keep churning out 1st downs. Davis thought it might be time to be able to get him a big one, and Murphy was open.
Well, this might be the ball game here for Miami if they can't get a stop, because you know Army will be able to just run off 3-4 minutes without Miami taking the timeouts.
Still don't envision Tyler throwing the football here for multiple reasons.
He puts it up. Nope. Going to keep it himself. Right into the arms of Miami's players. And there's a ball on the ground. Barnard reaching for it. Miami thought they had it.
Wow.
And it is 4th down.
Wow.
Kobe Hilton
wow.
was right there to make the play for Miami.
That is a gigantic save by Cade Barnard. Watch the nose tackle. Hilton get down the line. Knapp not able to block him. Rips it out. A couple of guys fight after it. And then Barnard leaping through the air like Superman to land on that.
And a whistle and a flag before the punt.
False start, number 11 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty remains, 4th down.
Think about all the missed opportunities for Miami in this ball game.
Wow. I mean, that's a gigantic difference right there, obviously. And that's one of the issues when you have a quarterback come in cold like Tyler has, and probably one of the reasons why Army hasn't played him more.
Punt number 5 on the day for Harding. And it's a good one. Drives Walker, who lets it go, and it'll go out of bounds inside the 3. A 63-yard punt for Zach Harding, pinning the Redhawks all the way back up against their end zone.
I believe, Jason, they call this in punter parlance for the brand right there, where you boom it out of bounds inside the 5.
At Northern Illinois, so Wyoming is 2-0 against the Mid-American Conference this year. Trying to get to 4-0 for the first time in 25 years, just like Army, who was trying to get there for the first time since '96. Now, Christian Anderson is being helped off the field back to the locker room. So we'll have more as that develops as Gabbard dumps it down to Cold Iron. Carter makes the stop, maybe a yard, but this certainly a developing story here for Christian Anderson, who came down hard on his right shoulder.
Yeah, certainly don't like the way that looks. He has been so good. It's his senior year. He's gotten off to such a terrific start, throwing and running. 236 yards today. Man.
Well, and the unfortunate part, Ross, this is all too familiar for him, because he started those games last year, but multiple times had to be shut down because of injuries. Gabbard in his end zone. Gotta have it. Off the Army helmet. Jabari Moore was looking for the tackle. If he was looking for the pick, it would have been right in his hands.
That is an awesome job, though, by Jabari Moore reading that. He's a cover 2 corner there, which means he's responsible for the flat. He was all over that. It's probably a good thing that Mosey didn't catch that, because Moore would have hit him even harder. You know what? He hit him pretty good anyway. Well, if Miami has a 97-yard play, I would call it right now.
Well, they just had an 80-yard play on the last drive that went for their only touchdown of the ball game.
Gabbard just changed the protection.
Pressure off the edge. Gabbard throws. Incomplete. Malcolm Morrison stepped in front of the receiver and knocked it to the turf.
That was a terrific play by Morrison. Middle of your screen, he reads the out route to Walker. That's exactly how you draw it up. Man, that is really, watch, the close hand. Don't hook them with the other hand. If you hook them, they'll call PI, and use the near hand to bat it down.
Ross, I know they're at their own 3-yard line, but with 6 minutes to go, down 2 touchdowns, are you surprised Miami is not going for it?
Well, considering they didn't kick the onside kick, I guess I would say no. I'm not surprised, but I would go for it here, because you're really putting yourself in a really small margin to try to win this game.
Well, and 2 punts already blocked today. And
delay a game.
Yeah, delay a game. Not that it's not the extra 1 yard might make a difference.
Delay of game, offense. Half the distance to the goal remains, 4th down.
Well, and this is the other part to all this, too, for Chuck Martin. His special teams unit today has been awful.
Right, now the good news here is they'll be in tight punt, which means they should have everybody tighter, and the punter should kick the ball right away. It should be like almost like a quick kick.
Well, and Army doesn't have anybody back either. So they do just that. Army doesn't even bring the pressure. And so they'll let this go, and it's going to take their bounce. After a 38-yard punt that settles at the 40. Army's defense does the job. Can the offense finish out the clock? Army's offense about to get back on the field, up 23-10, with Tyler now taking over. If you are a Miami fan, you're going to cringe at some of this because of the missed opportunities for the Redhawks. They had 3rd and goal at the 1. That was 4th down. They had Christian Anderson set up on a 3rd and 18. Couldn't stop him. He goes out for 42, which set up a 99-yard drive. And then Tyler comes in for the injured Anderson. They get a fumble and 2 Redhawks all around the football, and they could not hop on top of it in Army territory. Missed opportunities today, Ross, to go along with a first-half interception and 2 punts blocked. And that's how you get 23-10 facing Chuck Martin's team with less than 6 minutes to go.
You know what Tyler's not going to do the rest of this game?
Run,
fumble, or pass.
Well, the funny thing is for Jeff Monken and the passing game, which has been such a big story of the first 3 weeks for Army football, because they were 11 of 13 coming in. They did not have a passing yard in the win 3 years ago, and they do not have a pass yard today either.
This is the
a career high 236 yards on the ground. A touchdown of 72 yards on the 3rd play from scrimmage for Army. He had a 75-yarder later in the first half. He also had a 42-yarder on a 3rd and 18 that was part of a 99-yard drive that took up 11 minutes off the clock. But the story moving forward, Ross Tucker, is what is the health of Christian Anderson, who had a whale of a ball game in his 3rd start of the season, but he was helped up to the locker room, and it looked like he couldn't move his right arm.
Yeah, it did not look good for sure, and it's unfortunate, especially the way it happened.
24-yard line, and Miami not taking its 2nd time out.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. I would have expected Chuck Martin to call that timeout right after that run by Tyler. I'm not quite sure I understand the logic there.
Well, and you also go back to not kicking the onside kick earlier in the 4th quarter after they got an 80-yard touchdown pass. But that did come back to hurt him. This is 3rd and 5 for Tyler. Met in the hole. Salopek making another stop, and now the 2nd timeout taken by the Redhawks with 2:06 to go here in the 4th quarter, and a 4th down coming up. And Ross, Army is heading towards what looks like will be a 4-0 start.
It will be 30
for the
seconds.
first time since 1996, and just the 4th time in the last 70 years that they would start a season 4-0.
Well, you know, part of that is because they usually play their best opponent, you know, one of the first 2 or 3 games. In recent years, it's been Oklahoma, it's been Michigan. They usually have a team like that on their schedule early in the season. Next year, that team was supposed to be Tennessee.
Right.
But that game is not going to happen now after Tennessee bought out their contract. But I think that's part of the reason why Army looks like they're going to be 4-0. But they still have those opportunities on their schedule this year, playing both Wisconsin and Wake Forest.
Wake Forest is 4-0 after a huge win last night on the road in Charlottesville against Virginia. This is 4th down for Tyler, a chance to end the game, falls forward. He's hit by Singleton, but it's a 1st down, and that will ice this one for Army here to go to 4-0.
It is simply amazing how often they convert on 4th down. And usually it's by like half a yard. Fakes it, gets a nice lead block. Decent tackle by Singleton, but Tyler, with that compact build, able to fall forward.
Well, the other parts of this too, Ross, is moving forward. Remember, Tyler was the starter in game 1 at Georgia State. He got hurt on drive number 2. Depending on the health of Christian Anderson moving forward, he may very well be starting next week on the road at Ball State. Kick out. Does go to Howard, and he does have a 1st down. Downstairs to Tina with more on Christian Anderson.
So this is not official from Army football, but what I'm hearing being discussed on the sidelines here is that they are checking Christian Anderson for a possible shoulder separation. So he's undergoing those tests and evaluations right now in the Army locker room. Nothing official yet, but that's what they're looking for, guys.
All right, Tina, thank you very much. And Ross, it was his right arm, right, that he fell on. It was his right arm that he fell on as he was hit hard.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff Monken's real happy that Howard went out of bounds there. I thought he actually came down inbounds, but they called him out of bounds and stopped the clock.
Tyler's just going to wait, take off a few more seconds, now to the knee. Chuck Martin does have one timeout left.
I'm not a fan of that, by the way.